No, wrong. Okay, okay. Gotta be square. I feel weird. Alright, here we go. Back with you once again. I'm excited to be. I've been really looking forward to being able to do these broadcasts lately so I can get me out of my groove and I can do something different and feel something different and think something different than editing and preparation and making things. And I'm pretty well convinced that every stage of this, the final putting together of, well, the whole thing really of making this book is just been designed to completely test my limits of sanity. Okay, now I feel more normal. All right. It's like if your sock is twisted, like, you can't. You got to feel right about it. Okay. Anyways, point is I've been going kind of crazy for a while. If you've been paying attention to my doings up to this point, you know that I'm getting really close to the end, and that's also like like when you got your key, trying to get your key in the lock of the door because you got to go pee, and like it's getting worse, and you're convinced you're not gonna make it at that point. But that's what it's really like. I'm so close at this point to really being able to bring this thing to a close. And it's like I've got my key in the lock, and I'm losing my mind. I'm losing it. I really am. I know I've been saying that for a while, but I think that probably most creators of things or people in charge of big projects and things know what that's like, where you got to get out from under it. It's got to end. It's got to stop, because it's really just dominating every thought that you have and everything that you do and every move that you make and every moment that you get to sleep or eat or any dream that you have. So yeah, that's the long version of saying I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to have you with me, those of you who are going to join in and who will be watching the broadcast later. This is episode 10 of Meanwhile Back at the Ranch. Been doing it almost a year now. I started it a little bit after I put the movie out, Oh Buster, Where Art Thou? Which of course you can still see. It's available on my channel. And I guess this is kind of a milestone. That I've been managed that through all the stuff that I've been mired in, that I've been able to keep going with this and keep going with having things to say. I think that's pretty impressive on its own, that I keep managing to find things to talk about. Then I also my other series that looks exactly like this. I don't know if you call it a spin-off or just a second series, whatever, but it's the Million Movie Project Presents, where I do reviews of TV, movies, talk about movie history, TV history, things like that. That I started a little bit later, so that's not quite up to 10 yet, but I'm excited to be on episode 10. I'm happy about it. I'm glad that there's been enough to talk about and enough to go around, and that I can be here to do something a little bit different than just make posts on social media. So I've got some cool information today, an announcement I'll be making here in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to talk about something I covered in my last episode of my last chronological episode from a couple of weeks ago, and that was Million Movie Project, which is what's going on with the striking unions, the WGA and SAG AFTRA and things like that, and why it matters, and why I'm going to be talking about it, and why it matters to you, and why you should be very, very invested in it. So FYI on that. That coming up. But I also, I've got a lot I'm going to try to pack into a short amount of time. So if you got some questions, comments you want to throw out at me, want to just say hi, that's fine too. I have to get all with my face to see the tiny print. I need like a tiny magnifying glass that I can hold up to my phone. I can see it okay. It's a little bit small. But yeah, feel free to join in the conversation or make it a conversation. Otherwise, it's just me doing a monologue here. But I'm okay with it. I'm all right with the sound of my own voice. So, one thing that I would like to announce that I'm super excited about, that as soon as my necklace unhooks from the back of my hair and I can think again, that I can tell you, okay, is that August 24th. It's a little bit ways away, but you know, if you're super into me, you can mark your calendars. But August 24th at, well, actually, I'm not exactly sure if it comes out on August 24th. I'll have to get back to you on that. I know that we're taping on August 24th. But approximately, you know, within probably a day or so of that date, and I will be more specific in my next show. I should have that information. And anyways, around August 24th, I'm going to be a guest on the YouTube show Your Story Matters with Julie Hoyle. And I will be talking about O Buster, Where Art Thou? I'll be talking about the book, Another New World. I'll be talking about my artwork. They all go hand in hand. So I'll be having a good time getting to discuss all of the things that I'm working on. She runs a very interesting show where she talks to writers, authors, journalists, artists, filmmakers, you know, just people, creatives, people making things, and about what they're doing, and you know, where they're coming from and things. And she's got a really interesting YouTube channel, and that's where it will be. And that's what it's called, Your Story Matters with Julie Hoyle. So you can check her out, follow her there. If you're following people, go follow me as well. It wouldn't hurt. Then you get updates about me. That's fun, right? So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a chat. It's going to be fun. And then somewhere around, it won't be live like mine, because, you know, she's a, you know, polishes it a little more, and I'm just kind of, you know, flying by the seat of my pants here. So she'll post that in accordance to her schedule, and I'll talk to her, and I'll get an exact, you know, when. So when I post on my socials, you can find it there and check it out, and I'll share it as well when it's actually up and ready to go. I'll be posting and sharing about it, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to hear about it, I'm sure. So that's what's going on. That's my big announcement for now, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to getting to talk to her and be a part of her show. So thanks to Julie for having me on. The next thing I like to jump into here real quick, and I'll try to condense it as much as possible, because I have a feeling, as this is an ongoing issue, that I will be in some way addressing it going forward, probably every show in some form or fashion. But I talked in my last episode about this in a little more depth, but so I'll try to, well, the thing is I think that I have different, you know, you can't really tell for sure, but I think that, you know, the people who are primarily just want to hear about Buster come in, or what I'm doing, tune into this, and people that are more interested in like show movie history reviews, that kind of thing, tune into the other show. So I have some probably crossover viewers. I have some exclusive to each viewer. So it's important that I want to mention what I said then, which is that with these strikes, these union strikes, I hope that you're all very heavily invested in what's going on with them and following the news with them, and kind of understanding where they're coming from and why this matters. Because one of the primary reasons that they are striking, and you know, obviously fair pay for, you know, the residuals, and having these, you know, these gigantic mega corporations not paying them, you know, what they're due. But also the main issue is the usage of AI, and copying their likenesses, their images, and reusing them, so therein not to have to pay them for their work, and which is just pretty much unfathomable, I think, to most of us. But the reason I bring it up is because it's a much bigger issue than it seems like it is. It's not just something that's affecting the entertainment industry. It's affecting every industry. And when I say AI, that's just sort of the trendy term for it, you know, obviously standing for artificial intelligence, but that's really not a thing. That doesn't exist. It's just programs. It's computer programs, and ultimately it's all just ones and zeros. Okay, it's like somebody programming a program to do certain things and teaching it certain things. So it's not exactly what it sounds like, but that's the trendy term for it. That's what we're calling it. So when I call it that, just know that I know that it's not. I understand the difference. That AI is not itself. The term artificial intelligence is not actually a thing. It's programs. It's programs. Beep boop. So why does this matter? Okay. So well, it certainly matters to the people who make a living at putting themselves in front of a camera every day, or presumably every day. Most actors and writers as well, who aren't in front of the camera, aren't able to work steady. And there is a requirement that in order to be eligible for health care, they have to make a minimum amount of $26,000+ a year, and most do not, and especially in this environment, they do not. So, okay, why does this matter to you, who is not an actor and not a writer? You know, because the whole AI thing is so far unregulated, and it is coming for literally every single industry. It's just hitting the creative industries first because that was the first thing that was the easiest to jump into and make a public splash, let's say. You know, it doesn't really matter much to people who, you know, the entertainment industry has our attention no matter what you're into. But, you know, nobody's really following the, you know, the factory news or the engineering news of the day, right? So it doesn't matter what strides are happening with that technology in those places. But there is this myth among us, probably the whole world, but particularly in this country, that there is such a thing as infinite growth, that you could just keep doubling and doubling and doubling your bottom line and get richer and richer and richer. Okay. That's nice. We have some mobile listeners, podcast style. So the thing is that you aren't hearing about everything that it's infiltrating and all of the uses that it's being used for, because what it's being used for when it's duplicating someone's image on a television show is not what it's being used for, say, in the automotive industry or the IT industry. And the reason that that is important is because it's most publicly hitting the creative field the hardest, but it's literally infiltrating every single industry with the idea that these mega corporations and these wannabe mega corporations, smaller that are wanting to get larger, can eliminate their human resources, their human workers. For instance, you may have seen or be hearing that automated trucks are happening, and meaning like semis. That's happening. Already in progress, already happening. So that eliminates the need for drivers, you know, people who've made a living all of this time, long haul drivers, all of this time. And that's just an example, right? And then, you know, it's in like the train industry, or, you know, the railing industry drives the trains, right? Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Like, how do we avoid that? Like, okay, robots should be doing our work, and yes, they should. But this is happening unregulated to every single industry, and it's happening fast. I mean, absolutely fast. And then this is absolutely unprecedented because unprecedented because this is uncharted territory. We've never been here as a world before, and it's spiraling out of control so fast that it's hard to really even fathom what this is going to mean 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. We're headed towards a mega crisis of, you know, if we think things are bad now, wait till everyone is out of a job. And you think, okay, well, I'm not in these creative fields, so how is it going to affect me? It's hard to tell. You know, you need to put your ear to the ground and find out what's going on. I can give you a personal example, which I talked a little bit about in my last episode. By trade, you know, I wear a lot of hats. I have a lot of irons in the fire. I'm an editor, professional editor. I'm a professional writer, professional technical writer, professional designer. You know, I do all these things other than just like the creative writing, the filmmaking, the artistry, things like that are being hit hard here. I do technical work, right? And I'm a contract worker, like a lot of people are. For you know, I've been doing this for years. I've been a remote worker for years before by contract, before, you know, we did remote work during, you know, the height of COVID, which, by the way, still happening. Okay, really not going to kill you to wear a mask. Help yourself out. All right, help other people out. Think of other people. Just putting that out there. You know, there are sick people out there. You know, there are people that are chronically ill, and it's going to hit a lot harder. It's not over. And anyways, the thing that happened with me personally is I contracted with one main company who took on contracts and then paid myself and other writers to do technical writing, you know, brochures and books and, you know, that kind of a thing. And it was primarily in education and educational materials. And a couple years ago, when initially I started with them several years ago, business was a booming. Okay. I made pretty good money. Well, relatively speaking, you really don't make a lot of money as a writer, no matter what you're writing. But, you know, for me, entering the industry and needing it, and I need to work remote because it's not something I tend to talk about too much, but I do have a lifelong chronic illness so I can't just be like, oh, no, this didn't work out. I'll just go down to FedEx, pick up a couple of shifts. There's no problem. That's not a thing. And that's not a thing for most people. And if you're not suffering from a chronic illness now or debilitating injury of some sort, chances are you will be, you know, at some point very soon, or you know, at some point in your life, you're going to be in trouble. So we as people who deal with these kind of things have to look for workarounds, look for whatever we can get in a lot of cases, look for whatever skills we can fulfill. So remote work in general was a wonderful answer, I felt like, for me. And I was very, very happy to have that kind of job working in my own field. Of course, technical writing isn't super interesting or anything, but you know, I was happy to get paid to write. Right? I think anybody would be happy to get paid to work within their skill set. So I was always very happy with it. A couple of years ago, the company that I mainly contract for rebranded themselves a whole new title, and with AI in their title, right? I didn't really process this at the time. It was still a little bit early. And since that point, the jobs dried up and dried up and dried up and dried up to the point where this year I haven't had a single contract. So I have lost my primary source of income. And the reason why that this has happened is because you don't need human experience to be a technical writer. So they took that's something a computer could easily reproduce. So they took my work, they took other writers' work, they took the pool of writers, they took all of our work, gave it to a computer to learn on how to do it. And now it's basically like training your own replacement. So that job for me, it doesn't exist anymore, and it's been a struggle. This has not been a good year, I could say, and I don't know what the future holds. And it was very bad timing for the fact that I was, you know, putting the movie out, working on this book. And I've worked on this book for so long. It's sort of like this thing that's stuck to me. You know, I want to get away from it. You know, I'm happy to be doing it. I'm happy that it's almost over, but it's been pretty much one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my life. A lot of ups and downs. It's really not been all roses. I'm the kind of writer that, like, I don't sit in front of the computer and scream and cry, right? I don't. If it's not coming out of me fluidly, there's a problem. But there's been many, many problems with this production, just from the sheer difficulty of it all. So not only have I had that going on, the timing has been very bad to not be able to count on any outside work. So that's how it can come for your work as well. So if you think that this won't touch me, it absolutely will, because even right now, what I'm doing right now, I'm broadcasting on YouTube. So the corporation of YouTube, like hundreds and thousands or probably millions of other people are doing just like me. So places like YouTube, they promote this idea that you're going to be the next one. It's one video away from being, the next big thing. You're going to be rich and famous. Just work with us. We'll make it super easy, which they do. Anybody can figure it out. Anybody could broadcast live. You just put your Twitch stream out there. You put your thoughts out there. You put your face out there. They're mining my data. They're mining your data. They're mining my face. They're mining my likeness. They're monitoring the way that I speak, my voice. And I am not only having my time colonized by doing that, I'm giving them more content to promote to other viewers to keep you on the website longer. I'm essentially consenting to it by being here. And that's just the world that we live in, you know. And I'm not saying that they're trying to clone me specifically outright. I'm saying they're using me as a learning model. They're using every single person uploading anything to this website. Every social media platform is doing it. Everyone is taking your data and they're putting it into these computer programs to learn what your patterns are, what you're into, and putting that, you know, against the big picture of like all user data. And they're using your YouTube videos, they're using your TikTok videos, your Twitch videos. They're using you to inform computers on how to get smarter to take you out of the equation. Right, so that's the thing you got to keep in mind. This is not just a passing problem. This is something that is completely unregulated, and it's coming for every single industry. That's going to hurt every single possible industry, especially in manufacturing type things and settings. It's just most publicly visible in the creative settings, because we know that some doce can go to a website, plug in a few keywords, and then come out with a bunch of pictures and say, "This is my art. I made this art." The hell you did? You did not. You know, putting some keywords into a website is not making art. People are they're deluging the social media sites with these fake images that just no one is bothering to try and even ask questions about or tell the difference. And some of them are very convincing. And I'm not saying there's no room for that. I'm saying there's no room for passing it off as the real thing. And every single thing that is ever used to inform those programs. And this is in writing too. There are people are putting keywords in to have, you know, papers written, books written, and then they're listing those books as like ebooks, and they're flooding the market with just garbage generated by a computer. And this sounds like such a stupid thing. Like, it sounds like I'm, you know, like making like anti-Jetsons kind of argument here, and that's really not what it is. This is very, very serious, because not only is it taking over those industries, it's most importantly going to take over things where people can easily be pulled out of the equation, because where we think, oh, well, we're a resource. People are a resource, as Negan would say. People are not a resource. They are not. They are a liability. You get hurt on the job. You need rest. You need time to eat. You make mistakes. You can't work 24 hours a day. They have to pay you. You don't have to pay a computer program anything. That's the whole thing. They are actively, every single industry right now is actively trying to take as many people out of the equation as possible, and that's going to lead to an unemployment rate that has never ever been seen before in this country. And I could go on and on and on about this, but I'm going to try to be succinct about it, because I do have other things I want to talk about. It's not all gloom and doom here. I do have some updates about the book. I didn't lure you here to preach, but I just need you guys to really understand how important this is. And I normally wouldn't talk about myself like in such a personal manner, except for the fact that I have a personal example that I can give you and show you how it happens, how you will be the one where you are mined for your likeness, your intellect, your writing style, the way that you do your job, whatever your job is. And they will inform computers with your data without your consent, because they don't need it. It's unregulated. You work there. Could be in the fine print. Doesn't have to be. So they're using you to train computers on how to take your job, so that they can enrich themselves and make themselves into mega corporations and mega corporations. And you know, I know we know in the state of the world right now, with everything that's going on, it's not tenable. Things are already very bad. It doesn't matter who's in charge. You know, I have to be very careful about my language here, because if I use certain keywords, then my stuff gets deprioritized. I could get, you know, violations, say I'm being incendiary, that kind of thing. So I have to be very careful about the words that I use even. But unless you're very sycophantic about, you know, Team Red or Team Blue, then you are living in the world right now and you realize things are not good. And they have not been good. And they're just perpetually getting worse. We're talking about the environment. We're talking about living conditions. We're talking about homelessness. We're talking about prices of food and gas. We're talking about not being able to afford to have a home to live in. You know, there's just, everywhere you look, there is rot. And this stuff is going unregulated because these corporations pay the representatives to do their bidding. And that's been going on since the middle 80s, and you know who that president was. So, and because I opened it up to, you know, the whole idea that that could be done. And now we're here, and things are getting worse and worse and worse. So we really need to dive, as people, we are, I think, kind of hive-minding towards the idea of more civic engagement in community, because we were really driven away from that point because the media, which does the bidding of, you know, these places and are owned by corporations, really has impressed upon us that if you ask for help or if you need help, that you're a failure in your life. What, you couldn't do it by yourself? Other people did. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Do better, you know. But living in this world is absolutely untenable for most people. And there are so many. What's the next crisis? There's a million crises. Throw on the crisis pile, right? So there's all these issues, and now we're about to face this next one that is just completely uncharted territory. And, you know, we sit and we laugh and we say, oh, look at that funny picture with the person with extra limbs and 6 fingers and whatever. But a lot of that stuff is put out almost as propaganda to desensitize you to the idea that, oh, it's not important. These things aren't serious. This isn't really going to happen. This is silly stuff. But that's not true. They're getting faster by the minute. People, you know, you have the smartest computer programmers in the world working on this thing who don't even realize that soon that they won't even have a job when it comes to it. But basically, you think, okay, well, it sounds like we need regulation. And we do. But things don't work like they used to anymore, you know, where you just you call up your rep and that's not going to do you any good. That's not going to do you any good. What, are you going to leave a message or talk to one of their aides or whatever? Meanwhile, they are all, you know, living in Fat Cat City, taking kickbacks, getting this great health care, doing literally nothing while their aides do all the work, which I think very specifically we have seen that recently. But the point of, I'm going to move away from this because I'm making a broader point. And the broader point is that we now live in an era where, you know, we've spent decades being told, if you can't make it on your own, you're a failure. If you can't make your own way, you're a failure. The American dream is a real thing. But now people are kind of tending back to realizing there's community. And how many people out there, you know, are in local groups on like Facebook or, you know, things like that about what's going on in their little town or community, right? Or in one of those pay nothing groups or everything for free where you just trade stuff with each other, right? That's community, and that's what we need to build. And so if we're going to get anywhere, we need to be able to band together as people. And you say, okay, I'm one person, how do I do that? It doesn't even make sense. I don't understand these things. I don't really know what civic engagement really even is. I don't know how to do these things. It's okay. It's been taken away from you because they stopped teaching civics in school. So you don't really understand these things the way maybe past generations did. And we look at these people and we compare ourselves just in terms of success and ability to sustain ourselves. When you look towards the past, well, they were facing completely different situations, and most achievements people ever made historically were done with, you know, surrounded by help. We're surrounded by people who were helping them, doing things for them, and working as a community and that kind of a thing. So the only real way forward is not to try to petition the representatives or try to, like, you know, say, protest them or leave phone calls or whatever, or listen to one saying, I will do this, because we know they don't. We know they don't. You know, like I said, unless you're sycophantic for one or the other, you're living in the world and you know that they say one thing and they do only the things that are going to enrich themselves ultimately, and it's forget everybody else, right? We would not be in such a bad place if that wasn't the case, and it's going to get worse. So what do? That's where, and why I started this conversation, that's where unions come in. Now, unions are kind of a mystery to people these days, because they were this was a country formed on unions, and in the 70s and 80s, they were, you know, we were probably the strongest unionized country in the world, where workers had protections, but in unions primarily did the best work. And now, once again, let me be clear about this. Not all unions are created equally. Some are, and I'm not going to say the word, You know, if you're paying attention, you know which ones. Some are very corrupt and have way too much power, and need to be dismantled. But primarily, and some are way too weak and susceptible, because everything is susceptible to corruption. Everything from everywhere. It doesn't matter what you call yourself or what team you subscribe to. Everywhere is susceptible to corruption. But just generally speaking, in the 70s and 80s, this was like a union strong country, and primarily in the manufacturing sectors, where people needed the most representation because, you know, they could get ground up in a machine, or they needed breast breaks, or, you know, the reason we have weekends is because of unions. The reason that, you know, that you get a lunch hour is because of unions. And look at all that being slowly ebbed away, right? So we need to get into a place where more people are represented by unions. Workers especially, and you know, it's not just the WGA and SAG AFTRA that are striking. UPS is striking, and also they're not, you know, they recently struck a tentative bargain, but that bargain is not good, and they should move to strike. The railway tried to strike, and that got shut down in a way that it should not have happened. But there are places like Starbucks and food restaurants and stuff that are tired of being mistreated because no one is regulating any of this stuff. So they're trying to strike, and they're trying to form unions, and then these corporations are shutting their locations down and doing the best they can to try to stop them. There's always union busting. But we need to take it a step further. Not only do you, and it's not, by the way, it is completely illegal to discuss unions and discuss wages in your workplace. Whatever your workplace is, have your coworkers over for a picnic, talk about it. There are people that come out and take votes on whether or not you want to have a union, and your company will hire people who will come in and try to convince you otherwise. They will say, no, we're a family. If you join a union, you're going to have to pay dues. You're going to have to do what other people say. Don't listen to those kinds of speeches. They are paid to dissuade you from looking out for your own best interests. And if you decide that you want to be in charge of trying to unionize, you need to have notes on everything that you're doing at all times, because they cannot fire you for trying to unionize. But suddenly you could be the model employee, and then they hear that you're the one that's stirring up trouble, and then they decide, okay, we'll find just make up some infraction and fire you on that. So everything needs to be documented. And again, I'm not a union organizer. I don't belong to a union. I wish I did. I wish there was one for what I do. There isn't, just as you know, the things that I do. But the fact of the matter is that you really have to look into a broader thing than this. It's not just in the work sectors. It's also in people. We need renters unions, tenant unions. We need homeowners unions, which is not a homeowners association, by the way. We need just union protection for the people, because we need to stand up like parallel to the services that we are not receiving from the representatives, and become an advocacy group that determines what we are going to do and how we are going to do it and what rights we get, because these types of unions need to lobby for us to make sure that okay, so if these companies are going to use these AI technologies to completely abscond their workforce, then that means that they need to pay taxes on that, an exorbitant amount of taxes. And with those taxes, need like a robot tax. If the computer is controlling the robot, and there's, you know, they've gotten rid of everybody off the factory floor, then they need to be paying for that, because now they can run 24 hours a day. They don't have to stop for holidays or weekends or lunch breaks, you know, anything like that. So we need to not only, those of us in workplaces, work to unionize our workplaces. And there are more informed people than me on this. I'm just trying to bang the drum here on this and say that there's more to it than this. But like, again, there need to be renters unions, there need to be tenant unions, there need to be just for the people, because we have got to find a way to stand together against these unfair practices and these things where these corporations are just enriching themselves off of our backs, only to ultimately throw us out on the street. We don't have universal health care. We don't have a universal basic income. And when this new crisis arrives, none of those things are even in place already. So I am calling for not only, hopefully those of you can, you know, if you somehow find this inspiring, and I hope that you do, to start making strides in your workplaces to unionize, no matter how big or how small. But also, and they will threaten you, and they will try and find ways to fire you, and they will try to find ways to stop you. But unions that exist help with that. They know what to do. They know where they're going with these things. And there are experts out there at knowing how to organize and that kind of thing. And we need, I'm also not a professional organizer. I'm just somebody with ideas. So we need to be able to be in a position where it's not work. Unions aren't necessarily tied to work, but tied to just existing in a country, to say, all right, well, I'm part of this union, whatever it may be, just by way of living here. And my union representatives are going to say that we're going to, go on a general strike unless we get a universal basic income agreement, unless we get universal health care, unless we are, and we don't, I'm not against automation here. I'm not saying we don't go forward. The cat's out of the bag. It's happening. It's going to happen. What I'm saying is that we need to, and we know because of technology, we don't have to work as many hours and work as hard as people did in previous times. And we really shouldn't have to be held to those standards anymore. So it makes sense for a lot of places to have a 4-day work week, and it makes sense for, if they're going to take away your job, for them to pay taxes to support a universal basic income and allow people to find something else that they are able to do in some way. So I've got more I could say on this. I'll save it for another episode. I'm going to leave it there. But I really want to hopefully let people know that they're in trouble. You're in trouble, and we need to get more civic minded. And a lot of us don't have any idea how to do these things, but there are professional organizers out there. There are union organizers out there who know how to do these things, and we need to try to figure out a way to say, okay, there's the people's union, right? And everybody that wants to join it can join it. And yes, of course, you have to pay dues, and you are required to do certain things at certain times, but you're organized now and you have protections that you didn't otherwise have. And we need organizations, not just me or you or one person going up and speaking, at those open meetings and things like that, or when they get to they testify and stuff. Nobody's listening. They don't care. This doesn't matter because you don't have any money and you can't pay anybody to do anything. So the fact of the matter is we need to look into ways to start protecting ourselves via community. And it's super important because, we see it happening in the entertainment industry, but it is going to be happening in every industry. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. I will talk about some other stuff you can do, in another date. Because I didn't want this to just be one big, thing like this. I just am trying to sound the alarm now before things progress any further, because they are progressing by the moment, by the day, so it's a big problem. It's a bigger problem than you've been led to believe. So with that in mind, and I hope we're able, and another thing, just a side note, when you get these fundraising emails and things like that in the text that, for various campaigns saying we need your help, don't donate your money to those. Don't. You need that money. And if you say, I don't need that money, I want to donate that money, well, find a mutual aid organization that you like better and donate to them. One I like a lot is called Tour for the Poor, run by Rumbathay in Detroit. So, look, mutual aid, a good mutual aid with a good reputation will give money and funds to people who directly need them. But people running campaigns and saying, we need your help, they don't need it. They don't need it. And they're not doing anything for you anyways. So let's redirect the conversation now. And I can't really tell if this is the kind of thing that's going to hurt or help my my viewership. Obviously we'd like to be able to, despite all, we still would like to be able to reach a big audience in doing this, and then putting myself in the situation where now I'm being viewed, used being used to inform a computer about things. I hope that there is the trade-off, that I am able to develop an audience that can hear what I'm saying and benefit from it in some way. Now, I know I kind of held you a little bit hostage there, but it's not like it's not important. But I know that you didn't come here to hear that. You wanted to hear about how the book is going and how the project is going and Buster, 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 Buster. And don't we all love to talk about Buster? I certainly do. I talked to you before about the fact that I'm definitely looking forward to a Buster break coming up. But I do have more things on the pipeline. You know, I'm going to have an art book coming out, and I'm going to have a Keaton family cookbook coming out, which is going to be really, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to, but I needed some space, and I've got some other projects. You know, this has taken so much energy and so much time. I'm very good at multitasking, but, you know, when you got something this heavy, you really got to put your whole self into it, your whole mind into it, and it really, takes every bit of you. That's what it's really come down to for me. And I kind of have this issue where I get so fed up with something because I need lots of stimulation. I need to do lots of things. Like in my life, like I'm not getting to nearly all the things I want to do. Like I want to sew and make my own clothes. I want to get back into silversmithing. You know, there's all kinds of things that I'm not able to divide any time with. I want to practice my art more. I want to make better art. But this is taking up everything, so there's a big level of frustration, personal frustration there. As rewarding as I hope that this actually is, and as much as I'm looking forward to being able to share this with all of you and share this with the fans, because Another New World is something that's never been done before, at least in the Buster sphere, and it's really designed to be like a biopic movie on paper. I want to be able to immerse you, you know, and I've worked really, really hard on this, to immerse you as the reader into their world, you know, fly on the wall, so to speak, where you get to hear them talk to each other, and you get to hear what bothers them, and you get to hear what keeps them up at night, and you get to hear who they are as people, and you know, you get to learn about what they are. And what I'm working on right now, and have been for the last several weeks, is photo work. I have photo sections, and so yeah, of course, some of the things you'll have seen, but you'll never have seen them the way that I am doing them, because the story is a new style of story. The visual aids need to be a new style of visual aid, so it's going to be something completely different. And there's a lot of instances where you know, the photography is so old or poor, where I have to paint elements back in, and that, you know, as a writer, as an artist, I possess that ability, and that's also where the whole book comes from. Anyways, I'm a fiction writer primarily, so as my sensibility of a fiction writer, I take that skill set and I combine it with the facts, you know, and make you something unique and real and exciting that you haven't heard before. And I do the same thing as an artist with the images. So that is something that this entire project is going to be something completely new and different, because I've had some questions before in the past about, okay, well, you know, there's some really good books that have come out here recently, and how does my project differ from what I'm doing from that? Because it's got the human element with it. It's not just telling you the wheres, the whens, the hows, you know, in a timeline style fashion. It's making you a part of what's going on and what happened, you know, in those times and with those people, and there, so that you're able to connect. You know, you're able to make that connection with the Keatons and the people in their sphere. For a real feeling. And if you enjoyed the film, the book really follows in those footsteps. It's sort of a more streamlined version of saying that whatever I couldn't include in the film is in the book. So if you want a continuation of the film, then that's where we're going with that. But something that I've done recently here is that you may have seen is that I released the artwork, the painting that I did of Buster, where he's older in the foreground and younger in the background. It's called Ghosts. I released that for sale in several different versions, as well as the cover for the book and the poster for the movie. those can all be purchased in my Redbubble shop now. And yes, you can buy them as posters or signs or whatever. But the benefit of buying things through Redbubble is that you can buy these images on clothing. You can buy them on stickers. You can buy them on stationery. You can buy them on pretty much anything you can think of. Bed sets, pillows. And I actually have seen, it's been shared with me, I've actually seen one of the t-shirts with the image on it. And it was really exciting. It looked really great. And I was really happy about it. And we don't get much of a commission by working for Redbubble, putting our art on Redbubble, but we get something. And I know it's like a lot of people, it's back to school time. And so it's a good time to, maybe look into some of these things. If not me, other artists, it's stuff that you can't get anywhere else. I will say this. If you see my designs and they're not from me, my account is called Nicolette Abides. And if they're not coming from me, then you're buying counterfeit. So make sure before you click purchase that you're purchasing it, from Nicolette Abides. And you're not purchasing it from me personally. You're purchasing it from the website that fulfills the orders. They make it, they send it. I just provide the artwork. But I also have nearly 1,000 other pieces that, there's retro designs, there's from all eras, there's psychedelia, there's other portraits of other people, there's all kinds of stuff there. And the website is a little bit hard to navigate, so just stick with it. You'll find what you're looking for. It's really great for having stuff that nobody else has. So if you're the kind of person who likes to show up to a function with the stuff that you like brandished on your t-shirt, and know that nobody else has it, then that's a really good place for that. So that art is out now, and like I said, we do get a commission. It's not very good, but like I said earlier, with things not being so great in terms of my day job at this time, every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. So and I hope to be able to bring more art there soon, very soon. And more consistently. The book has really taken up so much time. I haven't really been able to sit down and paint and make more paintings and make more artwork. So there is more stuff coming. It's just TBD on that. So another little fun thing that I've got coming your way. I've talked about this quite a bit. I'm really inspired by music when I'm putting something together. Not just like I sit and listen to music and do it. Which I kind of don't, because there's really not very good ways to listen to music anymore. And that's another thing that the AI market is hitting, because if you think about, one of these just mainstream singers that doesn't play, maybe they just play guitar, or maybe they just sing, they're taking their vocal track and laying it down over the background instruments that have all been generated by computers. So then all those people who would do that job, studio musicians, don't get the work. So that's another example of that kind of a thing to be on the lookout for, which you have no control over, but just FYI. I listen anyway. I really conceive of like kind of the vibe of certain songs. And it's not just about like this song makes me think of Buster, or this song makes me think of Buster. It's not like that at all. It could be another person or another, how I want to convey a certain cadence of words, like how I want certain things to be read in a certain way. So I'll listen to certain things. So coming up, pretty soon, I'll have more information about it. I'm going to just make a little soundtrack for you all, and there is music mentioned in the text, but this is not it. This is just what inspired me as I was making everything and doing everything, and where my head was at as I was going through it all, and it won't spoil anything for you, but it'll kind of give you like an interesting little pregame thing to share and to listen to. So I'll make a playlist, like a YouTube playlist, and you can check that out and have some fun with that while you prepare for the book, which again, the book is going to be out November 25th, and it will be I'm going to probably have it ready listed for pre-order in September. And also just so that it's on the site and that there is a, a link, a shareable link there or something you can bookmark. The thing of it is that Amazon only lets you pre-order digital versions, like the ebook versions of things. Which I'm really not sure what the difference with that is, but this is how they do it. So if you were intending to buy a hardback or a paperback copy, you can't pre-order. But the good news is they won't run out because they are made to order. So that's another benefit of the whole self-publishing thing, which, I've been over and over again about, that I'm super, super juiced about self-publishing and not being beholden to a corporation who can lowball me an offer, take my work, manipulate it any way they want to, and throw it out there to try to get maximum impact and maximum revenue for themselves, and I wouldn't benefit from it all. So when you buy from me off of my Amazon link, when it's eventually there, I will get a pretty sizable commission from my work. And I think that's what we all would really want, is not to enrich a corporation any more than we have to. I mean, I know it is Amazon, but not to enrich a corporation any more than we have to, but to really at least get as much as we can back to the creators to help them afford to keep creating. And that's really all that I am after at this point. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what the editing, designing, technical writing landscape is like right now, so I don't know where I'm going to be going with this, but I hope that by getting going on putting out books now in the future and putting out more art, that enough of the people will be interested enough in what I'm doing to purchase from me and help me sustain. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So there will be a pre-release date. It's only for digital, but you don't have to worry about running out or not being able to get a copy. You will always be able to get a copy. You'll get 20 copies if that's what you want, because they made them to order. So it's always there. So no problem there. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I know that some of you are like super excited of asking me about it already. Like, I'm so super juiced. I want to pre-order, and I'm right there with you. I wish that you could, but you don't have to, So just bookmark the link, share it around. The best thing you can do for me and this project is to help spread the word. I know that there's a lot of fans that aren't on social media or don't run in my same circles, that kind of a thing. So if you know people who are interested and want to hear about it, then definitely let them know. And then soon you'll be able to share that link with them as well. But I obviously want to make ideal to be able to make my living doing this now, especially with the other stuff going on its way, however it is. So the thing of it is that I'm hoping to do is just get the word out there enough that you can all hear these things, that it's coming, that you can get excited with me, that we can share this kind of situation together, because I didn't just do this to hear my own voice. I want it for everybody to enjoy. I want the Buster community to be able to have something they've never had before and really get into it and get interested in it. And I'd like to see enough of it go that I can hopefully generate interest in the stuff that I do that's not Buster related, and get you all excited for the stuff that is Buster related that's on the way. So there's that. But there is one thing that I really, 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 really will need help on, like big time need help on. And it's like, don't ask me to do a thing. I get it. Super easy though. If you do purchase, whether it's a gift or for yourself, the way that Amazon prioritizes things, it needs to have reviews to succeed. It's just the way that they do it. And I know that it's like, how are you going to review a book you haven't even read yet? Well, the good news about that is that if you go and you say you made your purchase, you can go immediately leave a review. And if you want to say, I'm super excited to read this, I haven't read it yet, you can come back and edit anything that you say right up front. But if you can get in the habit of making the purchase, whether it be ebook or paperback, and I'm hoping to have hardback as well. I think I can. I haven't really got to that stage yet. I'm trying to make sure, all the I's are crossed and the T's are dotted, and get everything done and make this whole perfect package for you as best that I can, because I know there's going to be bugs that need work out and things like that. So I want to make it as perfect as I possibly can. And I know that there are some of you who are really, really excited for it, and some of you out there that I'm hoping are hearing about it for the first time if you hadn't prior to this. but I have to have reviews. I have to. It's just the way that Amazon works. And if you just get in the habit of going on there and saying, I just purchased, haven't read it yet, super excited, then come back and say whatever you want. You know, you can change your star rating, you can change your review if you're that kind of thing. And I'm very also open to anybody on their personal streams or their TikToks or anything also doing their own kind of reviews, that kind of thing, so other people can see it. So this is something that I'm asking for help with just sort of crowdsourcing, with sharing with your networks, just sharing and letting people know. So it's not just me, you know, it's not just me being like, listen to me. I really want to hopefully spread this out, because we're getting closer to the date now. It was crazy to think about how much work has gone into all of this, and when I decided around March that I was going to get it out this year, how quickly that time has gone by, because how immersed I've been in the process. So don't just do it because I'm asking you to. I hope that you will do it because you're going to enjoy it. And I really do think you're going to enjoy it. I know that there's people out there that are going to enjoy it no matter what. And I know that there's people out there who are going to hate it no matter what. And that's your prerogative, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm not above criticism, and I'm not even worried about that. I hope you don't want to be mean about it, but like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's all right. There's other things you can go out. It's not like it's the only book that's ever been made. You know, it's totally fine by me to have a difference of opinion. So I just hope that you will help me spread the word and share the news with as many people as we can as we get closer to the release date, and leave a review. Leave a review as soon as you make the purchase, just to help prioritize it in searches. Of course, you can always go there by direct link or search it, but it's like if you type in Buster Keaton and say, like, you're like, oh, I knew there was a new book, I can't remember the title, and you type in Buster Keaton, and it's not getting good reviews, then, or just like, it's not even good reviews, it's just like the amount of reviews, right? So it's like, if it's not getting, let's say, consistent reviews, and I don't know what that number is, I'm just saying, but then you run the risk of like not finding it, you know, or somebody not finding it. Like if you talk to a friend, they're like, oh, I'm interested in that, I'll look that up, and then they can't find it. So I have to have some interaction there, and that's what I'm going to be trying to impress upon you all as much as I can. I really don't have the kind of insights into who is watching, who is listening, who is interacting, because we all see things that we're like, oh, cool, and we don't necessarily say something about, or we don't necessarily react to. So I don't really have the kind of demographical information that tells me, oh yeah, you were seen by this many people at this time and in this way, and they're super excited and whatever. So I don't really have access to knowing that kind of a thing. I'm just doing my best to get the word out there. And once again, sometime I'll be clear about this when I know for sure myself, but sometime around the 24th, I'm going to be a guest on, once again, it's called Your Story Matters with Julie Hoyle, and I'll be talking about all of the projects there as well, and hopefully reach through to her audience, and she can, you know, you guys can follow her as well and join on and hear what other people are making and doing and that kind of a thing. If I like to talk to anybody and everyone and anyone. So if you have a podcast or a blog or something and you'd like to speak with me, I'm totally down. Don't be shy. I'm on the socials, the main ones. Twitter, not stupid, whatever some megalomaniac is trying to turn it into. So I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. My company page, Polyester Cowboy Productions, has its own page on Facebook as well. I'm on TikTok. I'm here. You can email me. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do to reach out to me. I'm here. I'm whatever. I'm in groups, and I try to interact with you all as much as I can. You know, because I like the Buster community, and I want to try to be part of it as much as I can, despite how busy things are. But you know, if there's something you want to ask me, if you'd like me to talk with you on like your blog or something like that, or you know, whatever, you know, you got an entertainment show, something like that, I'd love to be part of it. Because I'm just really, not only am I excited about getting the word out about the book and the movie and, you know, the artwork and all this stuff as well. I like to preach the gospel of Buster for sure, and I like to turn new people on to Buster, And as Buster fans know, it doesn't take much. It takes, you know, a highlight reel or a few minutes of check out this scene, and you've got a convert on your hands immediately, and they want to know more. And a lot of the times it's people who think, well, I never even thought I would be interested in silent film, or I never thought about something 100 years old could actually be really, really funny. But it is, and we know that. So I really want to keep spreading the word about the whole thing, and I hope that you will join me on that journey. And I appreciate so much those of you who do share my posts and do engage with me. I hope you know that, because it really does mean a lot to me personally, and a lot to me, you know, because I want to keep turning this stuff out for you. I don't want to end up in some nasty situation where I don't have the time. I have to, you know, do so much other stuff, like working stuff, that I don't have the time or the energy or the ability to keep making these things that I'm promising you. So I just hope that, you know, you can click that share button, that follow button, that, you know, whatever, and leave reviews and things like that, because it's really going to drive what I'm able to turn out in the future. And I hope that doesn't sound manipulative. It's not meant to be. I'm just really excited, and I'm really excited to be done with it, and I'm really excited to share it, and I'm really excited to hear you guys' feedback from it, to really give you something that I really poured myself into for many, 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 many years. And if you're concerned with if you're going to like it or not, if you like the movie, you'll like the book. And if you didn't like the movie, you'll still probably like the book. Or not. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and leave you there. I think I've talked enough. I know it's hard to listen to one person talk for a long period of time. I definitely get that. But so I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I have to go back to work and do all this. But, you know, I'm only a few weeks out from being absolutely finished with the whole thing. So as I close this out, I will have another show coming up. I think it's the 17th of this month. I think so. It'll be like Thursday after next, and that'll be a Million Movie Project episode. I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. I know I owe you guys another episode, another Bonanza episode. So maybe it'll be a Bonanza episode. I don't quite know yet. I'll have more details on that coming up when I am able to pull something together. And then again, later towards the end of the month, I'll be on Your Story Matters with Julie Hoyle, and I'll have the soundtrack coming out for you to, well, I guess inspiration soundtrack, let me be specific, the inspirational soundtrack for the book. And the art is out now. Any sale of that helps. Sharing that stuff helps. And then pre-orders will be, for ebooks, will be possible soon. And I'll keep you all up to date on all of that. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership and questions, comments. Always feel free to reach out. Either on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. That's I'm on TikTok, but I'm really not. I don't think that's really a communicative type of a place. So, you know, reach out wherever you feel most comfortable, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And I will be seeing you all again in a couple weeks when it's time for the next episode of Meanwhile Back at the Ranch. Or no, it'll be Million Movie Project. Okay. All right. So everybody take care. Be safe. You know, be kind to your community. Wear a mask for wellness and of your own self and others. Remember that to support your local drive-in theaters. They always need your support, unless they're jerks, because sometimes I'm finding out these people are jerks, and you'll know if they are. But if they're good and they're nice, then support them for sure. And support independent, real, actual artists, independent, real, actual writers, and unionize your workplaces, and think about ways to unionize your communities, because that's the only thing that's going to save us, is some real negotiating power. And thank you for being with me and listening to all the crazy things I had to say. So I will see you again very soon. Bye!